What if I told you Ferrari ditched tradition, turbocharged its wildest V8, and then tossed in 3 electric motors for good measure? You get this, rolling out of Maranello's gates. The SF90 Stradale, Ferrari's boldest prancing horse in the stable. Nearly 1,000 horsepower, all-wheel drive, plug-in hybrid, and a 0 to 100 time that slaps you in the chest. It's Ferrari dipping its toes into EV tech. But there's one catch, and barely anyone is talking about it. The SF90? Gone? Well, sort of, but what happened? Why did it quietly vanish from the lineup? And is its convertible twin, the Spider, taking over? Stick around, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's unpack the madness. Underneath that sculpted skin hides a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8, generating 769 horsepower solo. It's the most powerful V8 Ferrari has ever put in a road car. Then come the electric motors, 2 up front, 1 sandwiched between the engine and gearbox, adding another 217 horses. Together, 986 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. That fire hits all 4 wheels, which makes the SF90 Stradale the first mid-engine Ferrari with all-wheel drive. Shifting happens via a new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. This one, 22 pounds lighter and way quicker than the old 7-speed. Get this, at speeds up to 84 miles per hour, the SF90 glides in total silence for up to 16 miles, powered by a 7.9 kilowatt per hour battery, quietly doing all the work up front. But above 130, the front motors disengage and rear-wheel drive takes over. I know, on the surface, 16 miles of electric-only range doesn't sound like headline material, especially when you compare it to, let's say, a Toyota Prius Prime doing 400-plus EV miles or a Tesla doing hundreds. But in SF90 Stradale terms, it's actually a pretty big deal. Why? It's simple, because you're not looking at a commuter car. This is a 1,000 horsepower Ferrari, a supercar that also happens to have plug-in hybrid technology. It's not built for range, but for instant torque, sharper response, and sneaking out of your driveway in silence when you don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood. That little EV range, quite handy in cities too, particularly in Europe, where there are noise and pollution zones. But once you're in the clear, boom, full V8 fury. A bigger battery would have ruined the weight and handling. And in a Ferrari, that's a no-go. So yeah, 15 to 16 miles sounds small in isolation, but in the SF90, it's not about how far it goes, it's about how it goes. Stealth mode when you need it, fury when you want it, and that's what makes it so clever. Now wait, hybrid and Ferrari in the same sentence? You'd think that means compromise. Nope. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, 0 to 124 miles per hour in 6.7 seconds, and a top speed of 211 miles per hour. That's faster than LaFerrari. And guess what? The SF90 is heavier. But before we go any further, let's settle one thing, because the SF90 lineup can get real confusing really fast. When Ferrari dropped the SF90 Stradale in 2020, it was their first plug-in hybrid supercar. It made headlines, broke records, and flexed hard with its horsepower. Fast forward to today, and you walk into a dealership asking for one, you'll be handed the keys to a Spider. Yep, the SF90 Coupe is off the menu. The convertible, still alive, still savage, still ripping 0 to 62 in just 2.5 seconds with that same 211 miles per hour top end. The only thing you lose? The fixed roof. Here's where it gets spicy. Ferrari's newer track-rated SF90 XX still comes in both flavors, Stradale and Spider. So why did Ferrari say adios to the SF90 Coupe? 3 reasons. First, the clock ran out. Most Ferraris stick around for 4 to 5 years. The Stradale was born in 2020, and by 2024, it had seen its days. Second, demand dip. Turns out hybrid Ferraris, while brilliant, weren't flying off showroom floors. Buyers were still leaning towards pure combustion cars. And third, they're just making room. With the SF90 XX already around and the next-gen SF90 already in testing, Ferrari's gearing up for their first fully electric model. The SF90 Coupe might have left the chat, but the story is far from over. Right up front, you've got that signature V-shaped nose. That nose channels air right through sleek slots to cool the brakes and powertrain. The headlights, Ferrari's first LED matrix units. They got razor-thin horizontal slits and aerodynamic accents that give it a predatory glare. Look lower, and there's a maze of air intakes. Some feeding the brakes, some cooling the hybrid core, and side vents breathing life into the twin-turbo V8. Along the side, the SF90 screams mid-engine masterpiece. But something's different. The roof doesn't flow into the back window like in Ferraris of the past. Instead, the cab-forward layout pushes the cockpit up, tucks the rear glass way down, and when it's painted in Rosa Corsa, the glass practically vanishes into the red. A big break from Ferrari tradition. The SF90 rides on 20-inch forged alloy wheels. Not just pretty, but sculpted to channel air. Prefer carbon fiber? That's an option too, if you want to go full racing mode. At the rear, 4 squared-off LED taillights, shaped like sliced-up versions of Ferrari's classic round lights. Right below are twin high-mounted exhausts and the massive rear diffuser. It mimics the look of a trimaran boat, combining black trim with sculpted channels to manage airflow and ramp up performance. But the real trick is the shut-off gurney. Instead of a traditional rear wing like you'd see on a Lambo or McLaren, the SF90 uses a patented movable flap on the engine cover. It acts like F1's DRS. It pops up to boost downforce in corners or brakes and flattens at high speeds to cut drag. The Spider keeps all the Stradale visual drama. Same aero, same design language. The only twists? A 14-second retractable hardtop. Airflow tweaks near the rear buttress. Plus, the cockpit is shifted forward, the A-pillars are slimmed, and the widescreen rake is more aggressive. The Spider is also 100 kilograms heavier, but Ferrari says aero and downforce virtually match the Coupe. Once you slide into the SF90's low cabin, everything goes dark until you hit the ignition. A curved 16-inch digital display comes to life. No gauges, just sleek full HD graphics that mimic an F1 dash. Above it, the heads-up display projects key info, speed, revs, pace, and all in your line of sight. Swipe screens show media, nav, battery charge, and even range bars. But check this out, almost everything is on and around the wheel. On the left, you've got cruise and voice. On the right, a touchpad to scroll the main screen. On top of that, a rotary F1-style switch for drive modes. And 4 E-Manatino buttons for the hybrid setup. Fun fact, there's no start button, just a touchpad above the center spoke. Seats, carbon reinforced and 4-way power adjustable. Driver focused but civilized. Materials, carbon fiber, Italian leather, and Alcantara. If you look closer, that gear selector bridge even references old school H-gates from vintage Ferraris. No doubt, the SF90 is a beast, but with the soft side. There's comfort too. Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, navigation, voice control, dual zone climate, rear wheel cam, and parking sensors all come standard. Cabin storage is modest. Think cup holder, narrow console bin, slim door pockets. The trunk space, a barely there 74 liters. Maybe fine for a backpack. And then the rear shelf, practically decorative. So guys, what's your take on the SF90 Stradale? A hybrid Ferrari with 1,000 horsepower? Love it or leave it. And hey, if you want to see a deep dive into the SF90 XX, the crazier track-bred sibling, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and rev that bell icon so you don't miss what's next. Until next time, keep rolling.